getting ready to come.
And hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I am the Lord.
Last words, brother.
Shalom, ma.
All right.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. All right. Shabbat shalom, Yasharel. Shabbat shalom. Pray that everybody is having a blessed Shabbat. All right. Hey, your mic is muted.
All right, how's that? Is that better? All right.
Yep. Yeah, you was muted.
All right. Well, Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Shabbat Shalom. Peace and blessings. May the Most High bless each and every one of you guys this week as we get started.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right. Yasharel, we're still in the book of Jasher. Hey, we still got a minute and everything, but we're going to be getting into more of Joseph and some of the things that he had to go through and also how he was highly favored too. So you're going to see a lot of that as well. All right. We're going to be reading well, not necessarily a new scripture, but it's an addition. So if you go ahead and turn to Ecclesiasticus chapter 11. And you said you want me to take the first four?
Yeah, first four is good, brother.
Okay, first four. So we'll read I'll read the first four and we'll go through this. All right, it says prosperity and adversity, life and death, poverty and riches come of the Lord. Meaning that these things that we have in life, our prosperity, everything comes from the Most High. Death, all that stuff. It says wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the law or of the Lord. Love and the way of good works are from him. All right. Verse 16, error and darkness had their beginning together with sinners, and the evil shall wax old with them that glory therein. The gift of the Lord remaineth with the godly, and his favor bringeth prosperity forever. Now, I wanted to bring out something with this last one especially. I'm going to read this again. It says, the gift of the Lord remaineth with the godly, and his favor bringeth prosperity forever. You know how these Christian churches, they like to preach prosperity, especially the heathens. You know, it's bad enough that they got our book, but yet they're using the scriptures to preach prosperity. And because they have a big mega church, they think that this is coming from the Most High. But these people don't have a God. That's why the scripture refers to them as godless. All right.
That's right.
Because they don't have a God. The only one who has a God is Israel. These people are just an invention of some kind, a laboratory experiment that just happened to steal everything that they can steal. And, savages and just, they've never invented anything on their own, never created anything on their own. So they use what you call them culture vultures, because that's pretty much what they are and everything. But as far as our people, even if our people are not keeping the laws, guess what? You're not gonna have wisdom, because wisdom comes from keeping the commandments. Right. This is why Christianity, a lot of Christians are in slavery because of religion and all this stuff that they're being taught and brainwashed. And this is why they can't see, and this is why these pastors, they teach, Pastor Porkchop get in the pulpit and teach that the law is done away with. And all you're doing is putting your people further and further into slavery, captivity.
Yeah, that's what it says in verse 15. It says, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the law are of the Lord. So, like, if the heathens don't have God, since they don't have a God, and, the wicked, since they're, like Pastor Porkchop, like Brother Daniel was saying, they're not going to understand the law, statutes, and the commandments. They're going to tell you that everybody's going to be saved, or they're going to tell you that after, the Sunday church is over, they have you, worshiping the Most High on Sunday, and, and after the Sunday, they got you down in the basement, eating pork chops and lima beans. You know what I mean?
Crazy, man.
Verse you left off at 17. No.
I just read the first, whatever the first four was.
Okay, all right, we're on verse 18 then. It says, there is that waxes rich by his weariness and pinching, and this is the portion of his reward. Whereas he saith, I have found rest, and now will eat continually of my goods, and yet he knoweth not what time shall come upon him, and that he shall leave those things to others and die. Meaning that you got some of these, they're like they stingy, right? Real stingy penny pinchers. They don't want to share really too much, and they want to just hoard all their goods, and they want to sit back, says, yes, I'm rich now, I found my rest, I think I can do whatever, right? It's the same thing as we're talking about, like Kobe Bryant and how he was disrespectful to his parents and all of these things, and he ended up retiring from the NBA, and he had all that money, right? But the Lord killed him, right? Crashed him into the side of a mountain in a helicopter, right? So the scriptures say that he must leave those things to others and die. Be steadfast in thy covenant, right? The covenant that the Most High gave us to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, therefore we'll be saved, right? And also by the law of repentance. And be conversant therein and wax old in thy works, right? Talk about the law, statutes, and commandments with your brothers and your sisters, right? You got to be conversant therein and wax old in the works. Marvel not as thy works of sin. Marvel not at the works of sinners, but trust in the Lord. Like, don't pay attention to these rappers and these movie stars that we know are living wicked lives, right? And these other folks that are out here. It could be your own people out there, drug dealing to their own people or whatever it may be. Whatever they're doing, you're not supposed to be amazed at the works of sinners, of works of the wicked. But trust in the Lord and abide in thy labor, for it is an easy thing in the sight of the Lord on the sudden to make a poor man rich. It said it is easy for the Lord to suddenly turn a bum into a king. The blessing of the Lord is in the reward of the godly, and suddenly he maketh his blessing flourish. Right? So that's why it pays to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. It says, wax old in thy work. You may be poor for 40 years, 50 years, and then all of a sudden, for you keeping the works of the Most High, just out of the blue, the Most High will bless you, and you will begin to flourish. Where do we leave off in Jasher?
40. We on 44, so we're just going to start on 44, chapter 44.
Time. Yeah, I wanted to bring y'all that scripture. Well, me and Brother Daniel, we wanted to bring y'all that scripture this morning. This afternoon for the Shabbat, because we just felt like, a lot of our people, they don't understand that, the works, keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments is not in vain. It's okay, to expect a reward from your father, right, or your mother when you're doing good things, right? When you're doing the best that you can do, because it has already been promised to you. Those promises are there. You're not asking for things that are not been promised to you already. So if you keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, he will take care of you.
That's right.
Where, Joshua, what? You said 40?
44. I mean, we can read 40 again if you want to.
No. Okay. Yeah, we're on 44. Yeah, we had a lot of scriptures. All right.
Yeah. You can start off. You can start off with the first 10, and I'll take the
All right. All right, that was a good one. All right, Jasher 44. Jasher chapter 44. It's lucky, right? And it says, and the sons of Ishmael, who had brought Joseph from the Midianites, who had bought him from his brethren, went to Egypt with Joseph. And they came upon the borders of Egypt, and when they came near Egypt, they met 4 men of the sons of Midian, the sons of Abraham, who had gone forth from the land of Egypt on their journey. And the Israelites said unto them, do you desire to purchase this slave from us? And they said, deliver him over to us. And they delivered Joseph over to them. And they beheld him, and he was very comely, and he was a very comely youth. And they purchased him for 20 shekels. And the Israelites continued their journey to Egypt, and the Midian also returned that day to Egypt. And the Midian said to each other, behold, we have heard that Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, seeketh a good servant. Now, I want y'all to pay attention, right? Remember the story about Potiphar's wife and all of that stuff? So this is how Joseph first got into the hands of Potiphar, right? The priest, right, of Pharaoh. So it says, now we got to pay attention because, man, you'll see the Most High, he has a he has a way. He has a good humor, right? And the Ishmaelites continued their journey to Egypt, and the Midian also returned that day to Egypt. And the Midian said to each other, "Behold, we have heard that Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, seeketh a good servant who shall stand before him to attend him, and to make him overseer over his house and all belonging to him. Now therefore, come, let us sell him to him for what we may desire, and if he be able to give unto us that which we shall require of him." Right. So they were trying to see if they could get, whatever the price was for him, see if they can do it. And these Midianimim went and came to the house of Potiphar and said unto him, "We have heard that thou seekest a good servant to attend thee. Behold, we have a servant that will please thee, and if thou canst give unto us that which we may desire, and we will sell him unto thee." And Potiphar said, "Bring him before me, and I will see him. And if he please me, I will give unto you that which you may require for him." And the Midian went and brought Joseph and placed him before Potiphar and saw him, and he pleased him exceedingly. And Potiphar said unto them, "Tell me, what would you require for this youth?" And they said, 400 pieces of silver we desire for him. And Potiphar said, "I will give it to you if you bring me the record of his sale to you, and will tell me his history, for perhaps he may be stolen. For this youth is neither a slave nor the son of a slave, but I observe in him the appearance of a goodly and handsome person." And the Midian went and brought unto him the Ishmaelites who had sold him to them, and they told him, saying, "He is a slave, and we sold him to them." And Potiphar heard the words of the Ishmaelites and his giving the silver unto the Midian. And the Midian took the silver and went on their journey, and the Ishmaelites returned home.
Sir. All right, so it's kind of like picking up where 43 left off at and everything. It's going to get into details of what Joseph had to go through.
God.
All right, it says verse 11, "And Potiphar took Joseph and brought him to his house that he might serve him. And Joseph found favor in the sight of Potiphar," meaning that even Potiphar admired this young man. He probably couldn't believe, like, man, who's this good looking guy, man? Who in their right mind, man, would sell this young kid as a slave? And he placed confidence in him and made him overseer over his house. And all that belonged to him, he delivered over into his hands. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he became a prosperous man. And the Lord blessed the house of Potiphar for the sake of Joseph. Man, this imagining that the whole setup, all this time, the Most High he had his hand in this. Verse 13, "And Potiphar left all that he had in the hands of Joseph. And Joseph was one that caused things to come in and go out. And everything was regulated by his wish in the house of Potiphar. And Joseph was 18 years old, a youth with beautiful eyes, and of a comely appearance, and like unto him was not in the whole land of Egypt." So, even the scriptures is describing him as a very handsome young man. All right. "And Joseph was 18 years old, a youth with beautiful eyes and of comely appearance, and like unto him was not in the whole land of Egypt. At that time he was his master's house, going in and out of the house, and attending his master. Zelicah, his master's wife, lifted up her eyes toward Joseph, and she looked at him, and behold, he was a youth comely and well favored. And she coveted his beauty in her heart." And that woman was lusting, man. That woman was having all kinds of hot flashes, boy. "And her soul was fixed upon Joseph, and she enticed him day after day." And this didn't go on just for a few days and then stopped. This was days and days, even years.
Scripture said her soul was fixed upon him. That's wild right there, man.
That means that she was in a very lustful state. And them Egyptians, man, they already, they had already practiced this sexual alchemy and all this other kind of stuff. So, she had to be inflamed. "And Zelicah persuaded Joseph daily, but Joseph did not lift up his eyes to behold his master's wife. And Zelicah said unto him, How goodly are thy appearance and form, Surely I have looked at all the slaves and have not seen so beautiful a slave as thou art. And Joseph said unto her, surely he who created me in my mother's womb created all mankind. You know, because some other slaves, they probably look all rough and beat up and everything. And, you know, Joseph coming fresh from his father's house. Verse 18, and she said unto him, how beautiful are thine eyes, with which thou hast dazzled all the inhabitants of Egypt, men and women. And he said unto her, how beautiful they are whilst we are alive, but shouldest thou behold them in the grave, surely thou wouldest move away from them. You want to swell it up to 19?
Brother.
Yeah, so Joseph is trying to deflect there, man. He's trying to be like, look, woman, I'm gonna get old one day. My body's gonna turn to dust. And so, but she wouldn't on that mindset though. She wasn't trying to hear it. It says, and she said unto him, how beautiful and pleasing are all thy words. Take now, I pray thee, the harp which is in the house, and play with thy hands, and let us hear thy words. So everything that Joseph was trying to tell her sounded like poetry to her. She didn't care, boy. It says, and he said unto her, how beautiful and pleasing are my words when I speak the praise of my God and his glory. And she said unto him, how very beautiful is the hair of thy head. Behold, the golden comb which is in the house. Take it, I pray thee, and curl the hair of thy head.
And when she said she looked at all the slaves. Dang, girl, relax.
She could not find that one, boy.
That's a reckless eyeballing. So, and he said unto her, how long wilt thou speak these words? Cease to utter these words to me, and rise and attend to thy domestic affairs. Hey, man, get around me and get them dishes done. I'm just kidding. All right. So, and she said unto him, there is no one in my house, and there is nothing to attend but to thy words and to thy wish. Yet notwithstanding all this, she could not bring Joseph unto her, neither did he place his eye upon her, but directed his eyes below to the ground. My man. Yeah. Hey, man, Joseph was not simping at all. He wasn't even looking at her.
He didn't want to get enticed.
Absolutely.
Because he knew he was flesh and blood. So, you're not going to try to.
Man, it's good to see the forefathers holding it down. It says, and Zelika desired Joseph in her heart that he should lie with her. And at the time that Joseph was sitting in the house doing his work, Zelika came and sat before him, and she enticed him daily with her discourse to lie with her, or ever to look at her, but Joseph would not hearken to her. Oh boy, you can imagine what she was saying, right? And she said to him, if thou wilt not do according to my words, I will chastise thee with the punishment of death, and put an iron yoke upon thee. Dog, man, all because you want to do. All right. And Joseph said unto her, surely God who created me looseth the feathers of prisoners, and it is he who will deliver me from thy prison and from thy judgment. And when she could not prevail over him to persuade him, and her soul being still fixed upon him, her desire threw her into a grievous sickness. And all the women of Egypt came to visit her, and they said unto her, why art thou in this declining state? Thou lackest nothing. Surely thy husband is a great and esteemed prince in the sight of the king. Shouldest thou lack anything of what thou heart desireth? And Zelika answered them, saying, this day it shall be made known to you whence this disorder springs, in which ye shall see me. And she commanded her maid servants and prepared food for all the women, and she made a banquet for them. All the women ate in the house of Zelika. So she cooked up this big old banquet in order to tell her, tell all the handmaidens why she was sick, right? Girl talk. Hey, girl, go ahead, cook this. I'm about to tell y'all what's going on with me. And she gave them knives to peel the citrons, to eat them. And she commanded, as they dressed Joseph in costly garments, that he should appear before them. And Joseph came before their eyes, and all the women looked on Joseph and could not take their eyes from off him. And they all cut their hands with knives that they had in their hands. And all the citrons were in their hands were filled with blood. Okay. So Joseph was him. All right.
Crazy.
And it says, And they knew not what they had done, but continued to look at the beauty of Joseph and did not turn their eyelids from him. All right.
Yep. Angelica saw.
My bad. Go ahead.
Angelica saw what they had done, and she said unto him, "What is this work that I have done? Behold, I gave you cisterns to eat, and you have all cut your hands." And all the women saw their hands, and behold, they were full of blood, and their blood flowed down upon their garments. And they said unto her, "This slave is in your house has overcome us, and we could not turn our eyelids from him on account of his beauty." Man, you sitting up there, man, with a house full of women, man, and you cutting yourself because some dude come in there, man, and you just overly lusted, boy, and just can't take your eyes off of him. That's crazy, boy. Man, Joseph definitely was a lady killer, boy. And she said unto them, "Surely this happened to you in the moment that you looked at him, and you could not contain yourselves from him. How then can I refrain when he is constantly in my house, and I see him day after day going in and out of my house? How then can I keep from declining or even from perishing on him on account of this?" And they said unto her, the words are true. For who can see this beautiful form in the house and refrain from him? And he is not thy slave and attendant in the house. And why dost thou not tell him that which is in thy heart, and sufferest thy soul to perish through this matter? Let's go to 35.
Gotcha.
All right. And she said unto them, "I am daily endeavoring to pursue him, and he will not consent to my wishes." Yeah, he's like, because Joseph, man, he knows, man, he knows the God of Israel, man. "And I promised him everything that is good, and yet I could meet with no return from him, and I am therefore in declining state, as you see." And Angelica became very ill on account of her desire toward Joseph. Dang, she became ill, boy. She was that struck.
You know, Joseph had to be annoyed by this point too.
I can only imagine, man. And she was desperately lovesick on account of him. And all the people of the house of Angelica and her husband knew nothing of this matter, that Angelica was ill on account of her love to Joseph. Because remember, you know, the women didn't really have a lot of affairs, and you know what the men said and everything like that. So, you know, he wouldn't know what was going on. And all the people of her house asked her, saying, "Why art thou ill and declining, and lackest nothing?" And she said unto them, "I know not this thing which is daily increasing upon me." And all the women and her friends came daily to see her, and they spoke with her. And she said unto them, "This can only be through the love of Joseph." And they said unto her, "Entice him and seize him secretly."
Seize him.
I know, and perhaps he may hearken to thee and put off his death from thee. Angelica became worse from her love to Joseph, and she continued to decline till she had scarce strength to stand.
Oh.
Man. And on a certain day, Joseph was doing his master's work in the house. Angelica came secretly and fell suddenly upon him. And Joseph rose up against her, and he was more powerful than she, and he brought her down to the ground.
Hey, man, Joseph fighting for his life over there, man.
Like, look, woman, you got to stop. Gonna get me killed.
Joseph fighting for his life over there, man. She's trying to shake the cheeks. No. Angelica wept on account of her desire of her heart toward him. And she supplicated him with weeping, and her tears flowed down her cheeks. And she spoke unto him in a voice of supplication and in bitterness of soul, saying, "Hast thou ever heard, seen, or known of so beautiful of a woman as I am, or better than myself, who speak daily unto thee, fall into a decline through love for thee, confer all this honor upon thee, and still thou wilt not hearken to my voice? And as it be through fear of thy master, lest ye punish thee, as the king liveth, no harm shall come to thee from my master through this thing. Now therefore pray, listen to me, and consent for the sake of thine honor, which I have conferred upon thee." Man, where's the honor Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, man. So for the sake of the honor which I have conferred upon thee, right? You see how this is wickedness, right? She's trying to say, for the sake of the honor which she has conferred upon him to sleep with her, but there is no honor in that, right? These are just straight enticing words. If you didn't know the law, statutes, and commandments, man, a lesser man would have fell victim to this. And put off his death from me, and why should I die for thy sake? And she ceased to speak. And Joseph answered her, saying, refrain from me, and leave this matter to my master. Behold, my master knoweth not what there is with me in the house, for all that belongeth to him he has delivered into my hand. And how shall I do these things in my master's house? Right? Joseph had loyalty. For he hath also greatly honored me in this house. He hath also made me overseer over his house, and he hath exalted me. And there is no one greater in this house than I am. And my master hath refrained nothing from me, except thee, who art his wife. How then canst thou speak these words unto me? And how can I do this great evil and sin to God and to thy husband? Now refrain from me, and speak no more such words as these, for I will not hearken to these words. But Zelicah, this harlot, would not listen to Joseph when she spoke these words unto her, but she daily enticed him to listen to her. Man, this is ridiculous, man. She's doing the most. And it was after this that the brook of Egypt was filled above all Salakia. It was after this that the brook of Egypt was filled above all its sides, and all the inhabitants of Egypt went forth, and also the king and princes went forth with timbrels and dances, for it was a great rejoicing in Egypt, and a holiday at the time of the inundation of the sea Sihor, and they went there to rejoice all the day. And when the Egyptians went out to the river to rejoice, there was their custom. All the people of the house of Potiphar went with them, but Zelicah would not go with them, for she said, I am indisposed, and she remaineth alone in the house, and no other person was with her in the house. And she rose up and ascended to her temple into the house, and dressed herself in princely garments, and she placed upon her head precious stones of onyx stones, inlaid with silver and gold. And she beautified her face and skin with all sorts of purifying liquids. And she perfumed the temple and the house with cassia and frankincense. And she spread myrrh and aloes, and afterwards sat in the entrance of the temple, in the passages of the house, through which through which Joseph passed to do his work. And behold, Joseph came from the field and entered the house to do his master's work. I mean, she is doing the absolute most, man. Trying to get him with the smells and everything. And he came to the place through which he had to pass, and he saw all the work of Zelicah, and he turned back. He said, "Nah, man, it's a trap."
And she was persistent, boy. Hey, look, she was going to do anything by any means necessary, man, to get this brother to fall. But she gonna realize that, hey, it ain't gonna work. Verse 51. And Zelicah saw Joseph turning back from her, and she called out to him, saying, what aileth thee, Joseph? Come to thy work. And behold, I will make room for thee until thou shalt have passed to thy seat. And Joseph returned and came to the house, and passed from thence to the place of his seat. And he sat down to do his master's work as usual. And behold, Zelicah came to him and stood before him in princely garments. And the scent from her clothes was spread to a distance. So she was packing it on.
Mm-hmm.
And she probably had loose garments on and everything, boy, just showing all her parts, boy. And she hastened and caught hold of Joseph in his garment. And she said unto him, as the king liveth, if thou wilt not perform my request, thou shalt die this day. And she hastened and stretched forth her other hand and drew a sword from beneath her garments.
Crazy.
And she placed it upon Joseph's neck. Dang, I could just see that vividly, And she said, rise and perform my request, and if not, thou diest this day.
Man, how you gonna get it up with a girl got a doggone sword to your neck? You know what I'm saying? That don't, you know what I'm saying? How in the world that's gonna work?
He's gonna be more terrified than anything.
I know. That's what.
And Joseph was afraid of her at her doing this thing, and he rose up to flee from her, and she seized the front of his garment, and in the terror of his flight, the garment which Zelicah seized was torn, And Joseph left the garment in the hand of Zelicah, and he fled and got out, for he was in fear. And when Zelicah saw that Joseph's garment was torn, and that he had left it in her hand and had fled, she was afraid of her life, lest the report should spread concerning her. And she rose up and acted with cunning, and put off the garment in which she was dressed, and she put on her other garments. She about to say, she about to play the rape victim. And she took Joseph's garment and she laid it beside her. And she
Come on, oldest story in the book.
and
man.
exactly. Hey man, heathens still use it until this very day, man, on our people.
Facts.
And she went and seated herself in the place where she had sat in her illness, before the people of her house had gone out to the river. And she called a young lad who was then in the house, and she ordered him to call the people of the house to her. And when she saw them, she said unto them with a loud voice and lamentation, See what a Hebrew your master has brought to me in the house, for he came this day to lie with me. Let's scroll that up.
God, man, you know she was in there fanning all that sun out. You know what I'm saying? Running around acting crazy as hell, man.
For when you had gone out, he came to the house, and seeing that there was no person in the house, he came unto me and caught hold of me. Ain't nobody gonna believe that woman. With intent to lie with me. And I seized his garment and tore them, and called out against him with a loud voice. And when I had lifted up my voice, he was afraid of his life, and he left his garment before me and fled. And the people of her house spoke nothing, but their wrath was very much kindled against Joseph. And they went to his masters and told him the words of his wow. But you know, man, a lot of them had to know, man, especially the ones that were close to her, know that she was full of BS.
She probably tried that before too. They say, and Potiphar came home enraged, and his wife cried out to him, saying, What is this thing that thou hast done unto me in bringing a Hebrew servant into my house? For he came unto me this day to sport with me. Thus did sport, okay. Sport with me. Thus did he do unto me this day.
It's kind of like a word for flirting and stuff, and you know,
yeah.
touching and trying to,
do the thing, yeah. And Potiphar heard the words of his wife, and he ordered Joseph to be punished with severe stripes. Oh man, not 99 lashes. And they did so to him. And whilst they were smiting him, Joseph called out with a loud voice and lifted up his eyes to heaven, and he said, O Lord God, thou knowest that I am innocent of these things, and why shall I die this day through falsehood by the hands of these uncircumcised wicked men whom thou knowest? And whilst Potiphar's men were beating Joseph, he continued to cry out and weep, and there was a child there, 11 months old. And the Lord opened the mouth of the child, and he spake these words before Potiphar's men. Dang, these miracles, right? Who were smiting Joseph, saying, What do you want of this man, and why do you do this evil unto him? My mother speaketh falsely and uttereth lies. Thus was the transaction. Dog, boy. Oh man. And the child told them accurately all that happened, and all the words of Zelicah to Joseph that day did he declare unto them. Hold on, let me see something. Yeah, Slack here, Israel. I want to see, does it say we know that the doggone the child was Zelicah's child, but I want to see like what does it say it was a girl or not? I don't see none. I was wondering if this is the one that grew up later on, they ended up marrying him. You know what I'm talking about? Anyways, and the child told them accurately all that happened, and all the words of Zelicah to Joseph day after day he did declare unto them. And all the men heard the words of the child, and they wondered greatly at the child's words, that the child ceased to speak and became still. And Potiphar was very much ashamed at the words of his son. Okay, and he commanded, so that was a boy. And he commanded his men not to beat Joseph anymore, and the men ceased beating Joseph. And Potiphar took Joseph and ordered him to be brought to justice before the priests who were judges belonging to the king, in order to judge him concerning this affair. And Potiphar and Joseph came before the priests who were the king's judges, and said unto them, Decide, I pray you, what judgment is due to his servant, for thus he has done.
Man, that's crazy.
Uh,
All right, verse 71 says, and the priest said unto Joseph, why didst thou do this thing to thy masters? And Joseph answered them, saying, not so, my lords. Thus was the matter. And Potiphar said unto Joseph, surely I entrusted in thy hand all that belonged to me. Man, that's crazy, man. And Potiphar said unto Joseph, surely I entrusted in thy hands and all that belonged to me, and I withheld nothing from thee but my wife. And how couldst thou do this evil? And Joseph answered, saying, not so, my lord. As the Lord liveth, as thy soul liveth, my lord, the words which thou didst hear from thy wife is untrue. For thus was the affair this day. A year has elapsed to me since I have been in thy house. Hast thou seen any iniquity in me, or anything which might cause thee to demand my life? And the priest said unto Potiphar, send, we pray thee, and let them bring before us Joseph's torn garments, and let us see the tear in it. And if it shall be that the tear is in the front of the garment, then his face must have been opposite to her, and she must have caught hold of him to come to her. And with deceit did thy wife do all that she had spoken. I'm going to scroll that up. 75. All right. And they brought Joseph's garment before the priests who were judges, and they saw, and behold, the tear was in the front of Joseph. And all the judging priests knew that she had pressed him. And they said, the judgment of death is not due to this slave, for he has done nothing. But his judgment is that he be placed in the prison house on account of the report, which through him has gone forth against thy wife. See, somebody might say, well, if he was innocent, then why did they throw him in prison? You got to understand, the Most High is still guiding this whole thing. All right. They know that Joseph was innocent, but because of the words and because of the case, Egyptians were very political people. And so they didn't want to go out trying to protect this, even though, she was wrong, they trying to protect her.
That's right. That's exactly what happened. And shut him up. They didn't want him to spread the word, so they locked him up in prison so he wouldn't spread it, saying that she tried him like that.
Yep. It says, and Potiphar heard their words, and he placed him in the prison house, the place where the king's prisoners are confined. And Joseph was in the house of confinement 12 years. So he spent 12 years in the joint because of a lie that Potiphar's wife conjured up. Verse 77, and notwithstanding this, his master's wife did not turn from him, and she did not cease from speaking to him day after day to hearken to her. And at the end of 3 months, Zelicah continued going to Joseph and to the house of confinement day by day.
Oh man, she is what?
I know. Let me read that part again. And at the end of 3 months, Zelicah continued going to Joseph to the house of confinement day by day. And she enticed him to hearken to her, and he wouldn't even safe in prison. And Zelicah said unto Joseph, how long wilt thou remain in this house? But hearken now to my voice, and I will bring thee out of this house.
I mean, Egypt is wicked, man, because that's like, yeah, man, go ahead and do the dude, and then I can't worry about you saying you turn me down, and you know what I'm saying, and all of this stuff, and then my name is, this is,
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm glad, man, Egypt had to be destroyed, man.
Yep. And Joseph answered her, saying, it is better for me to remain in this house than to hearken to thy words, to sin against God. And she said unto him, if thou wilt not perform my wish, I will pluck out thine eyes, add fetters to thy feet, and will deliver thee into the hands of them who thou didst not know before. And Joseph answered her and said, behold, the God of the whole earth is able to deliver me from all that thou canst do unto me. For he openeth the eyes of the blind, and looseth those that are bound, and preserveth all strangers who are unacquainted with the land. And when Zelicah was unable to persuade Joseph to hearken to her, she left off going to entice him. And Joseph was still confined in the house of confinement. And Jacob, the father of Joseph, and all his brethren who were in the land of Canaan, still mourned and wept in those days on account of Joseph. For Jacob refused to be comforted for his son Joseph, and Jacob cried aloud and wept and mourned all those days.
That's right. Hey, man, that was big because he said, and preserveth all strangers who are unacquainted with the land. You know, like that would be us right now because we're strangers in this land, and the Lord has preserved our people through all types of slavery. 45. And it was at that time in the year, that the year of Joseph's going down to Egypt after his brothers had sold him, that Reuben, the son of Jacob, went to Timnah and took unto him for a wife Iluriam, the daughter of Avi the Canaanite, and he came to her. And Iluriam, the wife of Reuben, conceived and bare him Hanok, Pelu, Chetzeron, and Carmi, 4 sons. And Simeon, his brother, took his sister Dinah for a wife. Okay. Salakia. All right, so that's who we got for a wife. Okay, so, and Simeon, his brother, took his sister Dinah for a wife, and she bare unto him Meuel, Yamin, Ohad, Jackson, Zokar, and five sons. And he after it came to Bunah, and the Canaanite woman, Salakia, I'm not reading, the Canaanitish woman, the same as Bunah, whom Simeon took captive from the city of Shechem. And Bunah was before Dinah and attended upon her. And Simeon came to her, and she bare unto him Saul. Okay, so lock it. You know, sometimes you be forgetting about stuff when you read it. You be like, oh yeah, that's right. And Judah went at that time to Adullam, and he came to a man of Adullam, and his name was Hira. And Judah saw there the daughter of a man of Canaan, from Canaan, and her name was Eliath, the daughter of Shua. And he took her and came to her, and Eliath bare unto Judah Onan, and Shiloh, 3 sons. And Levi and Issachar went into the land of the east, and they took to themselves wives of the daughters of Joab, the son of Yoktan, the son of Eber. And Joab, the son of Yoktan, had 2 daughters. The name and the elder was Adonai. The name of the younger was Aridah. And Levi took Adonai, and Issachar took Aridah, and they came to the land of Canaan, to their father's house. And Adonai bare unto Levi Gershom, Kehath, and Merari, 3 sons. And Aridath bare unto Issachar Tola, Puvah, Job, and Shomron, 4 sons, right? And this is where we tell you that this is Job, that we're in the book of Job. All right, this is the son of Issachar. And he was just staying in the land of what was that? The land of Esau at the time, right? It says, and Dan went into the land of Moab, and he took for a wife Aphalith, the daughter of Shemodan, the Moabite, and he brought her to the land of Canaan. And Aphalith was barren, and she had no offspring. And God afterward remembered Aphalith, the wife of Dan, and she conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Chushim. And Gad and Naphtali went to Haran, and took thence the daughters of Aaron, the son of Uz, the son of Nahor, for wives. And these names of the daughters of Anaram, the name of the elder was Miriath, the name of the younger was Uzith, and Naphtali took Merimoth, and Gad took Uzith, and brought them to the land of Canaan, to their father's house. All right, I guess on you can get the names.
All right. And Mirima bare unto Naphtali Jatziel, Guni, Zazer, and Shalem for sons. And Uzith bare unto Gad Ziphion, Shagai, Shuni, Esbon, Eri, Oradai, and Orli, 7 sons. And Asher went forth and took Adon, the daughter of Athlah, the son of Hadad, the son of Ishmael, for a wife, and he brought her to the land of Canaan. And Adon, the wife of Asher, died in those days, and she had no offsprings. And it was after the death of Adon that Asher went to the other side of the river and took for a wife Hadurah, the daughter of Abimael, the son of Eber, the son of Shem. And the young woman was of comely appearance and a woman of sense, and she had been the wife of Melchiel, the son of Elam, the son of Shem. And Hadurah bare a daughter to Malchiel, and called her name Serach. And Melchiel died after this, and Hadurah went and remained in her father's house. And after the death of the wife at Asher, he went and took Hadurah for a wife.
Slakia. Number 15, right? Number 15. That's the scriptures where it talks about, if you're married or whatever, and your husband dies, like where you're supposed to go to, where you're supposed to go to. You're supposed to take your children and go back to your father's house and live. Go ahead, Slakia. I would just say, I was just weird that you actually see it, you see it happening, and now you see where the commandments come from. You know what I mean? The commandments is, one, and it just shows it all through the scriptures.
And she was 3 years old, and damsel was brought up in Jacob's house. Verse 17, and the damsel was of a comely appearance, and she went in the sanctified ways of the children of Jacob. She lacked nothing, and the Lord gave her wisdom and understanding. And Hadurah, the wife of Asher, conceived and bare him unto Yimnah, Yishva, and Yizvi, and Beriah, 4 sons. And Zebulun went to Midian and took for a wife of Merishah, the daughter of Molad, the son of Abidah, the son of Midian, and brought her to the land of Canaan. So Midian, so this is where what's her name? Moses' wife came from that area. So a lot of people say that Midian was a Hamite. No, they all came from the line of Shem.
God.
Yep. So when people say, because the camps teach that stuff, that Moses' wife was a Hamite because she was Ethiopian, but she was actually from the line of Shem, because her father was a priest. All right. And Measureth bare unto Zebulun, Seir, Elon, and Yashleel, 3 sons.
All right. And Jacob sent to Aram, the son of Zobah, the son of Terah, and he took for his son Benjamin Melchiah, the daughter of Aram, and she came to the land of Canaan, to the house of Jacob. And Benjamin was 10 years old when he took Melchiah, the daughter of Aram, for a wife. Okay, Benjamin getting married when he was 10. What the world? Okay. And Melchiah conceived and bare to Benjamin Bela, Betcher, Ashbel, Gera, and Naaman, 5 sons. And Benjamin went after her and took for a wife Arabath, the daughter of Shomron, the son of Abraham. Okay, the son of Abraham, in addition to his first wife, and he was 18 years old. Okay. Okay. And Arabath bare to Benjamin what is that? Akai, Vash, Mupin, Chupin, and Ord, 5 sons. And in those days, I remember, I remember Mupin and Chupin been acting up. It's Slaki. It says, in those days, Judah went to the house of Shem and took Tamar, the daughter of Elam, the son of Shem, for a wife for his firstborn And came to his wife Tamar, and she became his wife. And when she came to her, he outwardly destroyed his seed, right? And his work was evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him, which means that, he pulled out, all right? And, just try to be as calm as possible, right? And he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And because he didn't, give her seed, right, the Lord destroyed him, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not supposed to, do that kind of stuff, right? Destroy your seed willingly type of thing. Especially when the Lord was trying to, raise up the children of Israel at that particular time. And it was after the death of Judah's firstborn, that Judah said unto Onan, go to thy brother's wife and marry her as the next of kin, and raise up seed to thy brother. And Onan took Tamar for a wife, and he came to her, and Onan did like until the work of his brother, and his work was evil in the sight of the Lord, and he slew him also, right? So he tried to do the same thing, right? He tried not to get her pregnant. He didn't want to have no babies by her, and the Lord was like, okay, word, I'm gonna kill you too then. Right. And when Onan died, Judah said unto Tamar, remain in thy father's house until my son Shiloh shall have grown up. And Judah did no more delight in Tamar to give her unto Shiloh, for he said, peradventure he will also die like his brothers. And Tamar rose up and went and remained in her father's house, and Tamar was in her father's house for some time. And at the revolution of a year, Eliath, the wife of Judah, died, and Judah was comforted for his wife. And after the death of Eliath, Judah went up with his friend Hira to Timnah to shear their sheep. And Tamar heard that Judah had gone up to Timnath to shear the sheep, and that Shiloh was gone up, and Judah did not delight in her. Oh, I'll read the rest of it. It's only 32. Oh no, Slack, my bad. No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yes, that's just my mouse.
Scroll down. Scroll down. Is it just 32?
Oh yeah, it is just 32. Yeah, it is just 32. All right, Slack, that's on me. And Tamar rose up and put off the garments of her widowhood, and she put a veil upon her, and she entirely covered herself, and she went and sat in the public thoroughfare, which is upon the road in Timnath. And Judah passed and saw her, and took her and came to her, and she was conceived by him. And in that time of being delivered, behold, there were twins in her womb, and she called the name of the first Perez and the second Zarath. Now, this is that particular time, right? If you go and you read in Genesis, it's talking about how Judah saw a harlot. You know what I'm saying? He thought that she was a harlot, and she gave him a staff and some other belongings to Judah gave her some, not Judah, but Judah gave her some staff and some other belongings, right, for payment. And it turned out she ended up being blessed. But that go ahead. I'm not going to expound anymore on that, even though I could, because that's kind of deep right there. 46. Right. 46.
Yep. 46. It says, in those days Joseph was still confined in the prison house in the land of Egypt. At that time, the attendants of Pharaoh were standing before him, the chief of the butlers and the chief of the bakers, which belonged to the king of Egypt. And the butler took wine and placed it before the king to drink. And the baker placed bread before the king to eat. And the king drank of the wine and ate of the bread. And he and his servants and ministers that ate at the king's table. And whilst they were eating and drinking, the butler and baker remained there. And Pharaoh's ministers found many flies in the wine which the butler had brought, and stones of niter were found in the baker's bread. I guess there's some kind of I'm not sure what that was. I think I've seen that before. Some kind of insect or something that causes
what is it?
Spread diseases. Some kind of insect that spread diseases. Niter, something like that.
Niter?
And I'll have to look it up. Yeah.
I'll look it up while you're doing that. What?
Yeah, look that up.
How you spell it?
It's Nitre. It's right here.
All right.
It says and stones of niter. So I don't know. Could be. It says and the captains of the guards placed Joseph as an attendant on Pharaoh's officers, and Pharaoh's officers were in confinement 1 year. And at the end of the year, they both dreamed dreams in one night in the place of confinement where they were. And in the morning, Joseph came to them to attend upon them as usual. And he saw them, and behold, their countenances were dejected and sad. Let's scroll that up.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we come.
And Joseph asked them, why are your countenances sad and dejected this day? And they said unto him, we dreamed a dream, and there is no one to interpret it. And Joseph said unto them, relate, I pray you, your dream unto me, and God shall give you an answer of peace as ye desire. And the butler related his dream unto Joseph. And he said, I saw in my dream, and behold, a large vine was before me. And upon it, that vine, I saw 3 branches. And the vine speedily blossomed and reached a great height, and its clusters were ripened and became grapes. And I took the grapes and pressed them in a cup and placed it in Pharaoh's hand. And he drank. And Joseph said unto him, the 3 branches that were upon the vine are 3 days. And he says, yet within 3 days the king will order thee to be brought out, and he will restore thee to thy office. And thou shalt give the king his wine to drink as the first when you was his butler. But let me find favor in thy sight, that thou shalt remember me to Pharaoh, when it will be well with thee, and do thy kindness unto me, and get me brought forth from this prison. For I was stolen away from the land of Canaan, and was sold for a slave in this place.
That stones of niter. It says the chief baker had carelessly allowed small rocks of this bitter, soapy material to get mixed into the dough and baked into the Pharaoh's bread, biting hard until an alkaline stone of niter, niter would taste foul and could have easily broken the Pharaoh's teeth or made him sick.
Dang.
Right, so I can see why the Pharaoh wasn't putting up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, getting that prison, boy. Do not connect $200. That's crazy. All right. And also that which was told thee concerning my master's wife is false. For they placed me in this dungeon for naught. And the butler answered Joseph, saying, it is the king, deal with me at first, as thou hast interpreted to me. I will do all that thou desires, and get thee brought up out of this dungeon. And the baker, seeing that Joseph had accurately interpreted the butler's dream, also approached and related the whole of his dream to Joseph. And he said unto him, in my dream I saw, and behold, 3 white baskets upon my head. And I looked, and behold, there were in the uppermost basket all manner of baked meats for Pharaoh, and behold, the birds were eating them from off of my head. And Joseph said unto him, 3 baskets which thou didst see are 3 days, yet within 3 days Pharaoh will take off thy head and hang thee upon a tree. And the birds will eat thy flesh from off thee, and thou sawest in thy dream. That's like more like a nightmare, man. What in the world? And in those days the queen was about to be delivered. And upon the day she bare a son to the king of Egypt, and they proclaimed that the king had gotten his firstborn son, and that all the people of Egypt, together with the officers and servants, so the Pharaoh rejoiced greatly. And upon the 3rd day of his birth, Pharaoh made a feast for his officers and servants, for the host of the land of Zoar and of the land of Egypt. And all the people of Egypt and the service of Pharaoh came to eat and drink with the king at the feast of his son, and to rejoice at the king's rejoicing. And all the officers of the king and the servants were rejoicing at that time for 8 days of the feast. And they made merry with all sorts of musical instruments, with timbrels, with dances, in the king's house for 8 days. Oh, okay. It's the end of it. And the butler, to whom Joseph had interpreted his dreams, forgot Joseph, for he did not mention him to the king as he had promised. For this thing was from the Lord, in order to punish Joseph, because he had did what? He trusted in man and not in the Most High. And that's just a small thing, right? Joseph was trying to put it into the hands of man instead of putting it in the hands of God. Okay, what word, man? Wait, you gonna stay in prison for 2 more years. Oh, Salak, I didn't read that part yet. And Joseph remained in this prison house 2 years until he had completed 12 years, right? So he was going to get out in 10 years, but because he had trusted a man, the Lord said, you didn't learn your lesson. Let me go ahead and, and knock you upside the head for 2 more years. All right, I know that's crazy.
Yep.
God.
Yeah.
I got to stretch out.
It's something, man. Imagine having to go through this, you know what I'm saying? It says, and Isaac, the son of Abraham, was still living in those days in the land of Canaan. He was very aged, 180 years old, man. And Esau, his son, the brother of Jacob, was in the land of Edom, and he and his sons had possessions in it amongst the children of Seir. And Esau heard that his father's time was drawing nigh to die. And he and his sons and household came unto the land of Canaan, unto his father's house. And Jacob and his sons went forth from the place where they were dwelt in Hebron, and they all came to their father Isaac. And they found Esau and his sons in the tent. And Jacob and his sons sat before his father Isaac. And Jacob was still mourning for his son Joseph. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Bring me hither thy sons, and I will bless them. And Jacob brought his 11 children before his father Isaac. And Isaac placed his hands upon all the sons of Jacob. And he took hold of them and embraced them and kissed them one by one. And Isaac blessed them on that day. And he said unto them, May the God of your fathers bless you and increase your seed like the stars of heaven for number.
Let's go this up. My bad. I'm stretching over here, man. All right.
And Isaac also blessed the sons of Esau, saying, May God cause you to be a dread and terror to all that will behold you and to your enemies. And Isaac called Jacob and his sons, and they all came and sat before Isaac. And Isaac said unto Jacob, The Lord God of the whole earth said unto me, Unto thy seed will I give this land for inheritance, if thy children keep my statutes and my ways, and I will perform unto them the oath which I swore unto thy father Abraham. Now therefore, my son, teach thy children and thy children's children to fear the Lord, and to go in the good way which will please the Lord thy God. For if ye keep the ways of the Lord and his statutes, and the Lord will also keep you unto his covenant, and with Abraham, and will do well with you and your seed all the days. You know, it's amazing, man, because like we have fallen so much out of grace right now in our current days. Man, our people are so divided. I mean, it's crazy. Like, you have, even, you know, just in the Muslim area, man, you got all these divisions. Within the Hebrew Israelites, you got all these divisions, man. It's just, man, our people are just individuals, you know. They just do their own thing. Says, and when Isaac had finished commanding Jacob and his children, he gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people. And Jacob and Esau fell upon the face of their father Isaac, and they wept. And Isaac was 180 years old when he died in the land of Canaan, in Hebron. And his sons carried him to the cave of Machpelah, which Abraham had bought from the children of Heth for a possession and a burial place.
All right, come. All right. And all the kings of the land of Canaan went to Jacob and Esau to bury Isaac. And all the kings of Canaan showed Isaac great honor in his death. And the sons of Jacob and the sons of Esau went barefooted around about, walking and lamenting until they reached Kiriath Araba. And Jacob and Esau buried their father Isaac in the cave of Machpelah, which is in Kiriath Araba in Hebron. And they buried him with a very great honor, as at the funeral of kings. That's what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And Jacob and his sons, and Esau and his sons, and all the kings of Canaan made a great and heavy mourning. And they buried him and mourned for him many days. And at the death of Isaac, he left his cattle and his possessions and all belonging to him to his sons. And Esau said unto Jacob, Behold, I pray thee, all that our father has left, we will divide it into 2 parts. And I will have the choice. And Jacob said, We will do so. And Jacob, he don't want no problems. Yeah, sure, you can keep the good part. And Jacob took all that Isaac had left in the land of Canaan, the cattle and the property, and he placed them into 2 parts before Esau and his sons. And he said unto Esau, Behold, all this is before thee. Choose thou unto thyself the half which thou wilt take. And Jacob said unto Esau, Hear thou, I pray thee, what I will speak unto thee, saying, The Lord God of heaven and earth spoke unto our fathers Abraham and to Isaac, saying, Unto thy seed will I give this land for an inheritance forever. Now, therefore, all that our father has left is before thee, and behold, all the land is before thee. Choose thou from them what thou desirest. And if thou desirest the whole land, take it for thee and thy children forever. And I will take this riches and thou desirest the riches, take it unto thee, and I will take this land for me, as for my children to inherit it forever. And Nebaioth, the son of Ishmael, was then in the land with his children. And Esau went on this day and consulted with him, saying, so you are.
Yep. Thus has Jacob spoken unto me, and thus has he answered me. Now give thy advice, and we will hear. And Nebaioth said, What is this that Jacob has spoken unto thee? Behold, all thy children of Canaan are dwelling secretly in their land, and Jacob saith he will inherit it with his seed in all the days. Go down therefore and take all thy father's riches, and leave Jacob thy brother in the land, as he has spoken. And Esau rose up and returned to Jacob, and did all that Nebaioth the son of Ishmael had advised. And Esau took all the riches that Isaac had left, and the souls, the beast, and the cattle of the property, and all the riches. He gave nothing to his brother Jacob. And Jacob took all the land of Canaan, from the brook of Egypt unto the river of Euphrates, and he took for an everlasting possession, and for his children, and for his seed after him forever. And Jacob took from his brother Esau the cave of Meshpelah, which is in Hebron, which Abraham had brought from Ephron for a possession of a burial place for him and his seed forever. And Jacob wrote all these things in the book of purchase, and he signed it, and testified all his with his four faithful witnesses. And these are the words which Jacob wrote in the book, saying, the land of Canaan and all the cities of the Hittites, the Hivites, and Jebusites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, and the Gershites, all the 7 nations from the rivers of Egypt unto the river of Euphrates. And this is way before Africa was called Africa. So a lot of these places were still in Africa. And the city of Hebron carrieth Arba, the cave which is in it. The whole did Jacob buy from his brother Esau for value, for possession, and for inheritance, for his seed after him forever. And Jacob took the book of purchase and the signature, the command, and the statutes, and the revealed book, and he placed them in an earthen vessel, in order that they should remain for a long time. And he delivered them into the hands of his children. Go ahead, scroll that.
No following in the comments, y'all. Esau's dead. Yeah, there's no more Edomites on the earth.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, go back. There's a lesson we did a couple of weeks ago, and there's only 33 verses in this for you to read. There are no more Edomites.
Yep. Esau took all that his father had left him in his death from his brother Jacob, and he took all the property from man and beast, and camel and ass and ox and lamb, silver and gold, stones and betlem, and all the riches which yet belongs to Isaac the son of Abraham. Were there nothing left which Esau did not take unto himself from all that Isaac had left after his death? And Esau took all this, and he and his children went home to the land of Seir to Horite, away from his brothers Jacob and his children. And Esau had possession amongst the children of Seir, and Esau returned not to the land of Canaan from the day forward. And the whole land of Canaan became an inheritance to the children of Israel for an everlasting inheritance. And Esau
said the whole land.
Yep. And Esau with his children inherited the mountains of Seir.
That's wild, man. The whole land of Canaan, that's almost damn near all of Africa. You know what I'm talking about? Is ours, really. Not that little section that they say is Israel today, but all of that. Jasher 48. In those days, after the death of Isaac, the Lord commanded and caused a famine upon the whole earth. Hey, no comments in the comment section. Let's just leave that Esau stuff alone. Esau is dead. There are no more Edomites on the earth. Their seed was wiped out. They were destroyed when we got kicked out of Israel in 70 AD. We went over this history. We got a previous lesson. You just go ahead and check it. It's like, is Esau my brother? And, the doctrine of fools. Go ahead and check that out. Back to Jasher 48. In those days, after the death of Isaac, the Lord commanded and caused a famine upon the whole earth. And at that time, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, was sitting upon the throne in the land of Egypt, and lay in his bed and dreamed dreams. And Pharaoh saw in his dream that he was standing by the side of the river of Egypt. And while he was standing, he saw and behold, 7 fat-fleshed and well-favored kine came up out the river. And 7 other kind, lean-fleshed and ill-favored, came up after them. And the 7 ill-favored ones swallowed up the well-favored ones, and still their appearance was ill at the first. And he awoke, and he slept again, and he dreamed a second time, and he saw, and behold, 7 ears of corn came up from one stalk, rank and good, and 7 thin ears blasted with the east wind sprang up after them, and the thin ears swallowed up the full ones. And Pharaoh awoke out of his dream. And in the morning the king remembered his dreams, and the spirit was sadly troubled, and his spirit was sadly, and the spirit was sadly troubled on account of his dreams. And the king hastened and sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and the wise men, and he came and stood before Pharaoh. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed dreams. Is there none to interpret them? And they said unto the king, relate thy dreams to thy servants, and let us hear them. And the king related his dreams to them, and they all answered and said with one voice to the king, may the king live forever. And this is the interpretation of thy dreams. The 7 good kind, which thou didst see, denote 7 daughters that will be born unto thee in the latter days. And the 7 kind, which thou sawest come up after them, and swallow them up, are for a sign that the daughters which will be born unto thee will all die in a lifetime of the king. And that which thou didst see in the second dream of 7 full good ears of corn coming up upon one stalk, this is their interpretation, that thou wilt build up unto thyself in the latter days 7 cities throughout the land of Egypt. And that which thou sawest of the 7 blasted ears of corn springing up after them and swallowing them up, whilst thou didst behold them with thine eyes, it is for a sign that the cities which thou wilt build will all be destroyed in the latter days and the lifetime of the king. Man, I know he ain't like that interpretation. Like,
No.
what? That's nothing but bad news. What are you talking about?
I know. And when they spoke these words, the king did not incline his ear to their words, neither did he fix his heart upon them. For the king knew in his wisdom that they did not give a proper interpretation of the dream. And when they had finished speaking before the king answered them, saying, what is this thing that you have spoken unto me? Surely you have uttered falsehood and spoke lies. Therefore now give the proper interpretation of my dream, that you may not die. You know, it's amazing that the Most High didn't give it to them. He gave it to Pharaoh, because he knew that these magicians were false and they wouldn't be able to interpret it. So, you know, it says, and the king commanded after this, and he sent and called again for other wise men, and they came and stood before the king. And the king related his dreams to them, and they all answered him accordingly to the first interpretation. And the king's anger was kindled and was very wroth. And the king said unto them, surely you speak lies and utter falsehood in that which you have said. That's funny, man. That's why the Most High didn't give it to the magicians. He gave it to Pharaoh, because he knew that the magicians, man, he knew that there was only one person that would be able to interpret it, and that would be Joseph.
And you know, the boy Lies was on the live too, right? And you know, they had to stick together with that lie of whatever the first interpretation they had. They all had to keep saying the same thing, because I know they didn't want to get killed. Man,
they probably came that night, man, and be like, hey, okay, this is what you got to say, man. You know, next morning, because you know the king's going to ask. And the king commanded, story. Yep, and the king commanded that a proclamation should be issued throughout the land of Egypt, saying, it is resolved by the king and his great men, that any wise man who knoweth and understandeth the interpretation of dreams will not come to this day before the king shall die. Let's scroll that up. And the man that will declare unto the king the proper interpretation of this dream, there shall be given unto him all that he will require from the king. And all the wise men of the land of Egypt came before the king, together with all the magicians and sorcerers that were in Egypt and in Goshen and in Ramses and Tappanches and Zor, and all the places of the borders of Egypt. And they all stood before the king, and all the nobles and the princes, and the attendants belonging to the king came together from the cities, from all the cities of Egypt. And they all sat before the king. Man, this was huge. And the king related his dreams before the wise men and the prince. And you almost thought it was some kind of ceremony or something. And all that sat before the king were astonished at his vision. And all the wise men who were before the king were greatly divided in their interpretation of the dreams. Some of them interpreted them to the king, saying, the 7 good kinds are 7 kings, and from the king's issue will be raised over Egypt. They didn't know what the hell they talking about, man.
I didn't know what was going on. Let's see.
17.
All right.
It says, and the seven had kind 7 princes who stand up against them in the latter days and destroy them. And the 7 ears of corn are 7 great princes belonging to Egypt.
Change their tune.
Who will fall in the hands of the 7 lost powerful princes of their enemies in the wars of our Lord King. That's, man, it even sounds dumb, man. And some of them sounds like something a camp would come up. You know what I'm saying? Sounds like something a camp would come up with. And some of them interpreted the king in this manner, saying, the 7 good kind are the strong cities of Egypt. And the 7 bad kinds are the 7 nations of the land of Canaan, who will come against the 7 cities of Egypt in the latter days and destroy them.
He was making up all kinds of stuff. Man.
If they would have understood the symbolic of the animals and everything withering away, they would have understood, this was something else. And that which saw us in the second dream of 7 good and 7 bad ears of corn is a sign that the government of Egypt will again return to thy seed at the first. That don't make no damn sense, man. And in this reign, the people of the city of Egypt will turn again the 7 cities of Canaan, who are stronger than they are, and will destroy them. And the government of Egypt will return to thy seed. Man, I bet you at this time, man, Pharaoh's mind had to been like brain fog, man.
Like, what are these clowns talking about? 50 different interpretations. I know he was just putting a lot of them were getting put to death. And some of them said unto the king, this is the interpretation of thy dreams. The 7 good kind are 7 queens, whom thou wilt take for wives in the latter days. And the 7 bad kind denote that those women will all die in the lifetime of the king. And the 7 good and 7 bad ears of corn, which thou didst see in the second dream, are 14 children. I don't know where they come up with that, right? And it will be in the latter days that they will stand up and fight amongst themselves. The 7 of them will smite the 7 of them that are more powerful.
So they probably adding up the 7 good ones and the 7 bad ones, and that's probably what they with 14. That's stupid.
Boy, this is retarded, man. They just making up stuff.
I'm telling you, man, it sounds like something these camps will come up with.
God, yeah, I know that's right. You know what I'm saying? You can be reborn. You can be reincarnated back
Confusion
on the earth again. It's Moses. Right. Yeah.
Confusion of faces means that you gonna look like white folks.
Man. Yo, back on the earth is David. I got to do it all over again to try to get the kingdom. Man, get out of here, man. That sounds crazy as hell. And it says, and the king heard all the words of the wise men of Egypt and their interpretation of his dreams, and none of them pleased the king. And the king knew in his wisdom that they did not altogether speak correctly in all these words. But this was from the Lord to frustrate the words of the wise men of Egypt, in order that Joseph might go forth from the house of confinement, in order that he should become great in Egypt. And the king saw that none amongst all the wise men and magicians of Egypt spoke correctly to him. And the king's wrath was kindled and his anger burned within him. And the king commanded that all the wise men and the magicians should go out from before him. And they all went out from before the king with shame and disgrace. And the king commanded with a proclamation, be sent throughout Egypt to slay all the magicians that were in Egypt. Hey, man, king mad, man. He about to kill everybody. That not one of them should be suffered to live.
Can you
put him
blame
to death? No, man, I would have been mad too. all those false prophecies they didn't try to give me. And we know that the Lord is confounding them on purpose. So they weren't able to read the stars and do all of that, hocus pocus like they are normally able to do, because the Lord had a plan for Joseph to rise up. Now, this is not saying that they couldn't do that stuff back in the day, because if you remember, when Moses had went up against their magicians, they were still able to turn their staffs into serpents, right? So it lets you know that they were working with spiritual powers, be it of the evil spirits, or probably of the Nephilim or whatever it may be. Like that, we know the 10% of the demons that that Satan rules over. All right, and it says, and the captains and the guards belonging to the kings rose up, and each man drew his sword, and they began to smite the magicians of Egypt and the wise men. That's right, put them to death. And after the merit, chief butler to the king came and bowed before the king and sat before him. It's like, it's on you up.
All right.
I had some short verses, my bad. Let you get them long
good.
ones.
It's all good. And the butler said unto the king, may the king live forever, and his government be exalted in the land. And thou wast angry with thy servant in those days. Now 2 years passed, and displaced me at the ward, and I was for some time in the ward, and I and the chief of the baker, and there was with us a Hebrew servant belonging to the captain of the guard. His name was Joseph, for his master had been angry with him, and placed him in the house of confinement, and he attended us there. And in some time after, when we were in the ward, we dreamed dreams in one night, and I and the chief of the bakers, we dreamed, each man according to the interpretation of his dream. And we came in the morning and told them to the servant, and he interpreted our dreams. To each man according to his dream, he did correctly interpret. And it came to pass, as he interpreted to us, so was the event. There fell not to the ground any of his words. Yep, 37. All right. And now, therefore, my Lord and King, do not slay thy people of Egypt for naught. Behold, that slave is still confined in the house of the captains of the guard, his master, in the house of confinement. If it pleaseth the king, let him send for him, that he may come before thee, and he will make known to thee the correct interpretation of the dream which thou didst dream. And the king heard the words of the chief butler, and the king ordered that the wise men of Egypt should not be slain. And the king ordered his servants to bring Joseph before him. And the king said unto them, go to him, and do not terrify him, lest he be confused and will not know to speak properly. So in other words, man, don't scare the hell out of him. We still need him to focus.
Do not terrify him, lest he be confused. Oh, that's wild, right? And the servants of the kings went to Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. And the king's servants shaved him and changed his prison garment, and he came before the king. So they freshened him up, right? Gave him a little haircut, right? Shaped up his beard, brought him, made him presentable. And the king was sitting upon the royal throne, and a princely dress girt round about a golden ephod, with the fine gold, and it was upon it sparkled, and the carbuncle, and the ruby, and the emerald, together with all the precious stones that were upon the king's head, dazzled the eye. And Joseph wondered greatly at the king. And the throne upon which the king sat was covered with gold and silver and with onyx stones, and it had 70 steps. All right. Now remember, right? How many languages were there, right? How many languages were there, Israel? Remember, the Most High, he split the Tower of Babel.
You mean nations or languages?
Yeah. Well, I mean nations. Yeah. That's right, man. Remember how many nations there were? 70, right? And it was their custom throughout the land of Egypt that every man who came to speak to the king, if he was a prince or one of the estimable in the sight of the king, he ascended to the king's throne as far as the 31st step, and the king would descend to the 36th step and speak with him. And if he was one of the common people, he ascended to the 3rd step, and the king would ascend to the 4th step to speak to him. And their custom was, moreover, that any man who understood to speak all the 70 languages, he ascended the 70 steps and went up and spoke until he reached the king. That's what I'm talking about, right? So you had to be educated. And any man who could not complete the 70, he ascended as many steps as the languages he knew to speak in. And it was customary in those days in Egypt that no one should reign over them, but who understood to speak the 70 languages. Right? Today, man, we so slow, right? It says that in those days that the rulers had to be so proficient that they had to speak all 70 languages. Right? Today, man, people think you're amazing if you know 3 languages. Right? The kings were so so well taught, they knew 70. Speak 70 fluid languages with all the nations of the earth.
And that was a norm too, man. Because man, with no electronics of the day and all that kind of stuff, man. You know, that's all they had to do, man. That's all they did, man, was read, study. Today, man, technology today, I think it's crippled people today because you must be a dumbass, man, and but you have information at your fingertips. And most people don't even know how to use that.
Yeah, that thing said customary in those days. Customary.
Yeah,
That was normal. Facts. Yep. And when Joseph came before the king, he bowed down to the ground before the king, and he ascended up to the 3rd step. And the king sat upon the 4th step and spoke with Joseph. And the king said unto Joseph, I dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter to interpret it properly. And I commanded this day that all the magicians of Egypt and the wise men thereof should come before me, and I related my dreams to them. And no one, and I mean no one, has properly interpreted them to me. And after this, I this day heard concerning thee, thou art a wise man, and canst correctly interpret every dream that thou hearest.
So, is it fair to say that Joseph spoke about 4 languages since he ascended to the 4th step, and the king met him on the 4th step?
Well, since he was a peasant, he was only, he was required to go to the 3rd step. You know what I'm saying? But if you were wanted to rule over them, you had to ascend. Well, you'll see as we keep on reading, it'll break it down.
Yeah, because I know he did learn a lot of languages while he was there in Egypt too.
God.
So,
yeah. The angel came and never mind. Let me just he learned all of them in one night. Remember?
Yep.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yep. All right. And Joseph answered. You gonna better scroll that up a little bit because by the time I get there, it says, and Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, "Let Pharaoh relate his dreams that he dreamed. Surely the interpretation belonged to God." And Pharaoh related his dreams to Joseph, and the dreams of the kine, and the dream of the ears of corn, and the king left all speaking. And Joseph was then clothed with the Spirit of God before the king, and he knew all the things which would befall the king from the day forward, and he knew the proper interpretation of the king's dream, and he spoke before the king. And Joseph found favor in the sight of the king, and the king inclined his ears and his heart, and he heard all the words of Joseph. And Joseph said unto the king, do not imagine that there are 2 dreams, for it is only one dream, for that which God has chosen to do throughout the land he has shown to the king in his dream. And this is the proper interpretation of thy dream. The 7 good kine and the ears of corn are 7 years, and the 7 bad kinds of ears of corn are also 7 years. It is one dream. Now, don't that make a lot more sense than what these old crazy prophets, these false prophets were trying to come up with? It's crazy. It says, behold, the 7 years that are coming, there will be a great plenty throughout the land. And after that, the 7 years of famine will follow them, a very grievous famine, and all the plenty will be forgotten from the land, and the famine will consume the inhabitants of the land. The king dreamed one dream, and the dream was therefore repeated unto Pharaoh, because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. And it's kind of like, remember in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, my word established. So the Most High always gives like a double portion sometimes. It says, now therefore I will give thee counsel and deliver thy soul and the soul of the inhabitants of the land from the evil of the famine. that thou seek throughout the kingdom for a man very discreet and wise, who knoweth all the affairs of government, and appoint him to superintendent over the land of Egypt. And let the man whom thou place over Egypt appoint officers under him, that they gather in all the food of the good years that are coming, and let them lay upon the corn and deposit it in thy appointed stores. And let them keep that food for the 7 years of famine, that it may be found for thee and thy people and thy whole land, that thou and thy land not be cut off by the famine. Scroll that up there. Was that it?
That is it. No, it's not. That's on me.
All right, 60. I got 60. It says, and all the inhabitants of the land also ordered that they gather in every man the produce of this field and all sorts of food during the 7 good years, and that they place it in the stores, that it may be found for them in the days of the famine, and that they may live upon it.
This is the proper interpretation of thy dream, and this is the counsel given to thy soul and the souls of all thy subjects. And the king answered and said unto Joseph, who saith and who knoweth that thy words are correct? And he saith unto the king, this shall be a sign for thee, respecting all my words, that they are true, and that my advice is good for thee. Behold, thy wife sitteth this day upon the stool of delivery, and she will bear thee a son, and thou wilt rejoice with him. When thy child shall have gone forth from his mother's womb, thy firstborn, that he has been born these 2 years back, shall die. So it says that he has a 2-year-old son, right? And that his 2-year-old son, when his new son is born, his 2-year-old son will die. And thou will be comforted in the child that will be born unto thee this day. And Joseph finished speaking these words to the king. Hey, man, that's like, man, the Most High. Hey, for doubting Joseph's words that came from the Most High, right? The Most High killed that man's son. Right? The Most High killed the king's son. That's wild, though. Right? For proof. Oh, yeah, you want to doubt? You know what I'm saying? What the Hebrews said, then I'm going to go ahead and kill your son, to, you know what I'm saying, to make an example so you know I'm talking to you. So know what I'm saying is real. That's crazy, man. And Joseph finished speaking these words to the king, and he bowed to the king, and he went out. And when Joseph had gone out from the king's presence, those signs which Joseph had spoken unto the king came to pass on that day. Let's see. This only goes up to 66.
That's fine. And I'll
right,
take that. Let's go to the next chapter. Hey, does anybody? So when we pause right quick and take a break. Does anybody
I'm not
have
done
any
yet.
questions? Oh,
I'm not done yet.
Okay.
Came to pass on that day. And the queen bare a son on that day, and the king heard the glad tidings about his son, and he rejoiced. And when the reporter had gone forth from the king's presence, the king's servants found the firstborn of the king had fallen dead upon the ground. And there was a great lamentation and noise in the king's house. And the king heard it, and he said, what is this noise and lamentation that I have heard in the house? And they told the king that his firstborn son had died. And the king knew all Joseph's words which he had spoken were correct. And the king was consoled for his son by the child that was born to him on that day, as Joseph had spoken.
You believe now?
I know that's right. So I don't play that.
That's right. Hey, I want to take a pause and see if anybody has a question. Any questions for what we read so far? If there's any thing that you need explaining, or before I start reading this. If not, we'll just go ahead and we'll get into it then.
All
right. Back up to
I was
top.
just saying where we at. Yeah, we got 44 on this one. You want to make this one the last one, or you want to read one more after this?
Let's see where this one goes. We can.
All right, come on.
Let's see. Yep. It says chapter 49. It says, we'll make this last one because that way we go into 50 next week. So we're now going to 50 because I think next chapter, if I'm not mistaken, kind of gets into more of the rising of the governor and all that.
Potiphar was not a king. He was a general, or more like an advisor or a high priest to the Pharaoh.
To the Pharaoh. Yep.
Come on.
All right. So after these things, the king sent and assembled all his officers and servants and all the princes and nobles belonging to the king, and they all came before the king. And the king said unto them, Behold, you have seen and heard all the words of this Hebrew man, and all the signs which he declared would come to pass, and not any of his words have fallen to the ground. You know that he has given a proper interpretation of the dream, and it will surely come to pass. Now therefore take counsel, and that you will do, and how the land will be delivered from the famine. It's amazing, man, because they looked at Joseph, like Brother saying, as a peasant, as an outsider. But when reality, man, Joseph was already above them because he is the chosen seed of the Israelites. It says, seek now and see whether the like can be found. In those hearts there is wisdom and knowledge, and will appoint him over the land. For you have heard what the Hebrew man has advised concerning this, to save the land therewith from the famine. And I know that the land will not be delivered from the famine, but with the advice of the Hebrew man, him that advised me.
See, that's what he get. And they know he was a Hebrew, so they knew he belonged to Jacob and them.
Yep.
Right? And for doubting the Hebrew, you saw what happened.
And they knew all the battles from Jacob and everything. It says, and they all answered the king and said, the counsel which the Hebrew has given concerning this is good. Now therefore, our Lord and King, behold, the whole land is in thy hand. Do that which seemeth good in thy sight. Him whom thou not choosest, and whom thou in thy wisdom knowest to be wise and capable of delivering the land, which is wisdom. Him shall the king appoint to be under him and over the land. And the king said to all the officers, I have thought that since God has made known to the Hebrew man all that he has spoken, there is none so discreet and wise in this whole land as he is. Now, as soon as he said that, I bet you those eyes turned. I bet you those priests were foaming at the mouth. I wonder if he's gonna make me I wonder if he's gonna pick me. Oh, he's gonna pick me. You could probably hear him within their own heart. It says, let me read that part again. It says, there is none so discreet and wise in the whole land as he is. If it seem good in your sight, I will place him over the land. Man, I bet they broke their necks, man, when they heard that. For he will save the land with his own salvation. Man, I could see them like turning their neck so hard, man, putting their hands on their heart, be like, what? You gonna let a Hebrew slave, man, be over Egypt? Now, mind you, what he's getting ready to do with Joseph, he's gonna be over all, man. The only person that's gonna be over him is Pharaoh. That's it. It's the first time ever recorded that they had a governor of all of Egypt. And all the officers answered the king and said, but surely it is written in the laws of Egypt, and it should not be violated, that no man shall reign over Egypt, nor be the second to the king, but one who has knowledge in all the languages of the sons of men. And see, this is where the angels come in, and they always watch out after Joseph. Now, therefore, our Lord and King, behold, this Hebrew man can only speak the Hebrew language, and now can he be over us in the second under government, a man whom not even knoweth our language. So at this time, he was only speaking Hebrew.
Facts. Now we pray thee, send for him, and let him come up before thee, and prove him in all things, and see as thou see fit. And the king said, it shall be done tomorrow. And the thing that you have spoken is good. And all the officers came on that day before the king. And on that night, the Lord sent one of his ministering angels, and he came into the land of Egypt unto Joseph. And the angel of the Lord stood over Joseph. And behold, Joseph was lying in the bed at night in his master's house in the dungeon, for his master had put him back into the dungeon on account of his wife. So she's still sour, right? She's still, man, that's the true meaning about a woman scorn right there, man. She's still overdoing it, man. He was almost out the house, man. She was like, Potiphar, man, put him back in there. Put him back in the joint. And the angel roused him from his sleep, and Joseph rose up and stood upon his legs, and behold, the angel of the Lord was standing opposite to him. And the angel of the Lord spoke with Joseph, and he taught him all the languages of man in that night. And he called his name Jehoshaphat. Man, right? So he got an upgrade, Jehoshaphat.
Hey, can you imagine, man? Remember that? Okay, y'all remember the first Matrix? The first Matrix when Neo was getting ready to learn kung fu, and he didn't. Prior to that, he didn't know nothing about kung fu. Man, they put like a thing and uploaded all the information to his brain. That's exactly what the angels did, man. To Joseph, man. It's like they just uploaded all those languages, and it wasn't like it just came that one night and then they left. That was with Joseph for the rest of his life.
God,
that
right?
Man, that is wild, man. Imagine if the angels would come upon you, man, and upload a language in your mind, man, and you know it like you knew it, like you were speaking it all your life.
God, that just goes to show you that the way that we thinking and the way that we do things right now is just, so far from perfection. You know what I mean? We're doing everything the hard way. Angel came and taught him 70 languages. Speaking one language is hard for most of us. You know what I'm talking about?
Man.
They can't understand the English language.
It may take you a couple of years if you're really good. I mean, if you're really good, it'll probably take you 2 years to master a language.
Just that's crazy.
70?
And the angel of the Lord went from him, and Joseph returned to lay upon his bed. Oh, so he still had taught him 70 languages in time for him to get back and get a good night's sleep. And the angel of the Lord went from him, and Joseph returned and lay upon his bed. And Joseph was astonished at the vision he saw. And it came to pass in the morning that the king sent for all his officers and servants. And all they came and sat before the king, and king ordered Joseph to be brought. And the king's servants went and brought Joseph before Pharaoh. And the king came forth and ascended the steps of the throne, and Joseph spoke unto the king in all languages. And Joseph went up to him and spoke unto the king until he arrived before the king in the 70th step. And he sat before the king. And the king greatly rejoiced on the account of Joseph. And all the king's officers rejoiced greatly with the king when they heard all the words of Joseph. That's a beast. And the thing seemed good in the sight of the king and the officers to appoint Joseph to be second to the king over the whole land of Egypt. And the king spoke to Joseph, saying, Now thou didst give me counsel to appoint a wise man over the land of Egypt, in order with his wisdom to save the land from the famine. Now therefore, since God has made all this known to thee, and all the words which thou hast spoken, there is not throughout the land a discreet and wise man like unto thee.
Oh,
that's right.
And thy name no more shall be called Joseph, but Zephnephpaneah shall be thy name. Thou shalt not be second to me, and according to thy word, it says, thou shalt be second to me, and according to thy word shall be all the affairs of my government, and at thy word shall my people go out and come in. Also from under thy hand shall my servants and officers receive their salary, which is given to them monthly. And thee shall all the people of the land bow down. Only in my throne will I be greater than you. And the king took off his ring from his hand and put it upon the hand of Joseph. And the king dressed Joseph in a princely garment, and he put a golden crown upon his head, and he put a golden chain upon his neck. Dang, man. See, the Most High had to take Joseph through all of this in order for him to be humble to receive something like this. Because think about it. If he would have received something like this and never been humble, man, he would have been gloating. Boy, he would have been gloating like you wouldn't believe him. Bro.
Yeah, man, because he was gloating from the beginning, and the Lord had to humble him down.
And that goes for us, It's like, that's why Most High just give us rulership over him, because he knew we wouldn't handle it. And we'll be too prideful to do our own thing. Man, he Joseph all of this, the beatings, the agony, all that stuff, man. And the fact that he's still mourning for his fathers and his family. I mean, that humbled him, man. It says, and the king commanded his servants And they made him ride in the second chariot belonging to the king, that went opposite to the king's chariot. And he caused him to ride upon a great and strong horse from the king's horses, and to be conducted through the streets of the land of Egypt. And the king commanded that all those that played upon timbrels, harps, and other musical instruments should go forth with Joseph, 1,000 timbrels, and 1,000 Mekaloth, and 1,000 Nebelim went after him. That's like a doggone orchestra, man.
That's a marching band with him, a big boy.
That is a major orchestra band. It says, and 5,000 men with drawn swords glittering in their hands, and they went marching and playing before Joseph. And 20,000 of the great men of the king's girdles of skin covered with gold marched at the right hand of Joseph. Dang. And 20,000 at his left, and all the women and damsels went upon the roofs, or stood in the streets playing and rejoicing at Joseph, and gazed at the appearance of Joseph and at his beauty. And the king's people went before him, and behind him, perfuming the road with frankincense and with cassia, and with all sorts of fine perfumes, and scattered myrrh and aloes along the road. Man, this was, you might think of the biggest parade or something, man. Man, they don't even come close to what this was. And 20 men proclaimed these words before him throughout the land in a loud voice. Do you see this man whom the king has chosen to be his second? All the affairs of government shall be regulated by him, and that the transgressors and that he that transgresses his orders, or that does not bow down before him to the ground, shall die. Dang. For he rebels against the king and his second. I'll scroll that up there. And when the heralds had ceased proclaiming, all the people of Egypt bowed down to the ground before Joseph and said, May the king live. Also, may his second live. And all the inhabitants of Egypt bowed down along the road. And when the heralds approached them, they bowed down and they rejoiced with all sorts of timbrels, Mechol and Nabal before Joseph. I don't even know what those kind of instruments are. And Joseph, upon his horse, lifted his eyes to heaven. I'm thinking it's some kind of like stringed instruments or something, and called out and said, He raiseth the poor man from the dust. He lifted up the needy from the dunghill. O Lord of hosts, happy is the man who trusted in thee. Yep.
I remember, Israel, we just got done reading something like that in the beginning of the lesson in Sirach 11.
Yep.
And Joseph passed through the land of Egypt with Pharaoh's servants and officers, and they showed him the whole land of Egypt and all of the king's treasures. And Joseph returned and came on that day before Pharaoh. And the king gave unto Joseph a possession in the land of Egypt, a possession of fields and vineyards. And the king gave unto Joseph 3,000 talents of silver and 1,000 talents of gold, and onyx stones and bdellium, and many gifts. And on the next day, the king commanded all the people of Egypt to bring unto Joseph offerings and gifts, that he that violated the command of the king should die. So you better bring that up to Joseph now, the Hebrew. And they made a high place in the street of the city, and they spread out garments there, and whoever brought anything to Joseph put it in a high place. And all the people of Egypt cast something into the high place, one man a golden earring, and the other rings and earrings, and the different vessels of gold and silver work, and onyx stones of bdellium did he cast upon the high place. Every one gave something of what he possessed. And Joseph took all these and placed them in his treasuries. And all the officers and nobles belonging to the king exalted Joseph, and they gave him many gifts, seeing that the king had chosen him to be his second. And the king sent Potiphar, and the king sent to Potiphar, the son of Aram, priest of On, and he took his young daughter, Osanan, and gave her to Joseph for a wife. Right? So anyway, so you know, old girl.
Yeah, but that was the daughter of what was it? The Potiphar, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And
And
so,
you imagine, man, the mother. You imagine the mother, man, was just. She probably was terrified, man. I bet she thought she was gonna die that night.
yeah, man. And so now, hey, man. So he got the daughter, was looking at, which was younger and didn't have, and the damsel was very comely, a virgin, one whom man had not known, and Joseph took her for a wife. And the king said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and besides thee, none shall dare to lift up his hand or his foot to regulate my people throughout the land of Egypt. And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh. And Joseph, man, he was 30 years old. Remember, man, he was a kid, he was a teenager when he got sold. So, man, he was going through it. Suddenly, the Lord done lifted him up into a rich man, just like we was reading about in Sirach 11. And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh. And Joseph went out before the king, and he became the king's second in Egypt. And the king gave Joseph 100 servants to attend him in his house. And Joseph also sent and purchased many servants, and they remained in the house of Joseph. Joseph then built for himself a very magnificent house, like unto the house of the kings, before the court of the kings of the palace. And he made in the house Salakia, a large temple, very elegant in appearance and convenient for his residence. 3 years was Joseph in erecting this house. Man, so it took them more 3 years to build that house. It was a big boy house. Not saying that they had. Thanks. I'll read the rest of it. That's the end. Right. Okay. And Joseph made unto himself a very elegant throne in abundance of gold and silver, and he covered it with onyx stones and bdellium. And he made upon it the likeness of the whole land of Egypt, and the likeness of the river of Egypt that weareth the whole land of Egypt. And Joseph sat securely upon his throne in his house, and the Lord increased Joseph's wisdom. Hey, man, that's beast. So his throne was a map of what we know today of Africa. It was a map of Egypt, right? Like the backside of where, man, that's some pretty good artwork, right? And all the inhabitants of Egypt and Pharaoh's servants and his princes loved Joseph exceedingly. But this thing was from the Lord to Joseph. And Joseph had an army that made war, going out in the host and troops to the number of 40,600 men, capable of bearing arms to assist the king and Joseph against the enemy, besides the king's officers and his servants and inhabitants of Egypt without number. And Joseph gave unto his mighty men and to all this host shields and javelins and caps and coats of mail and stones for slinging. All right.
I like this comment right here. Yeah, we can jump on 50 next week.
All right, well, I'm with it. Yeah. Okay, I'm with it.
Put it up. Into. Let's see right quick. Yeah, I like this. I like this one right here. It says Joseph should immediately, without haste, ordered the death, beheading, execution of Potiphar, especially his wicked heathen wife.
Yeah.
That I'm pretty sure, because there's really no recording of what happened to her. Because I would be curious to see what if the Most High did administer punishment to her. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure she got it. But I know one thing, man. She probably was terrified as all get out, boy, when she realized Joseph, man, was made governor.
He married her daughter, so she got to get.
But this thing about it, man, you were the woman. That was the same woman, man, that was antagonizing Joseph. Got him put in prison for 12 years. Man, constantly trying to get that dude, man, like literally trying. She was trying to rape the dude, man. She wasn't just coming to him lightly, man. She was trying to like jump him, man. She was just trying to grab on him, man, rape him by force, and because he was stronger than her, he was able to hold her down. But man,
yeah, but remember that Potiphar was also the king's right hand man. Well, like the high priest or high general of him is also, so he wasn't going to really do anything to Potiphar. But that wicked woman, I guess that's why the king was like, hey man, let me get that daughter. What I mean, since you want to do all that, so just for payback. Because remember, she was saying that that she was the finest in the land. That Potiphar's wife was supposedly the finest woman in the land. So I guess he, like whatever daughter she had, she probably, probably took it after her mother. She was probably bad too. And she was a virgin. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Which wasn't Potiphar's wife. She already had two kids.
Most women, man, even in a lot of the heathen nations, man, women were preserved as virgins for marriage. Believe it or not. because they get all that stuff from our laws, But that was just common back then, man, for a woman to be reserved for marriage. You had women that were used for sport. You had women who was used for harlotry, for pleasure. But then you had women who were preserved specifically for marriage. All right? The Egyptians, they had it all, but within our faith, for the Israelites, man, it was a law that all women remain virgin until they married. I can't say that now, but that's because everything is just out of order. So whenever that will be, whenever we go into the wilderness, that's when everything is going to be restored, and it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. And it may not happen in our lifetime, but when it happens, man, trust me, order will be restored.
All praise.
Whether you want it to or not. You about to say out?
No, I was reading one of the comments. Slacking.
Oh.
Yeah. She was a stalker, Brother Tobert, for sure. Said Potiphar's wife caused Joseph to fall, but Yahweh raised him up beyond her husband's position and gave him Potiphar's daughter. Yeah, talking about a big blow. Yeah, you already know that, man. That's what I'm saying. The Most High, he has a sense of humor. Don't try him.
Yeah, but actually Joseph didn't really fall. I mean, he didn't give in to temptation to her, even though he was being tempted, but he didn't give in to temptation. But which caused him, of course, because she lied on him, because she couldn't get her way.
Yeah.
Caused the brother to be locked up and everything for that sake.
12 years.
Yeah, but this
2 years his own fault.
Yeah. Say what?
I said 2 years of it was his own fault for trusting the man.
Yeah.
Well, 12 years altogether, man. That's a long time in the joint.
Yeah, man. Yeah, 1 year is a long time in the joint.
Yeah. So that's like juvie, that's like juvie all the way up. You know what I mean? So he got out when he did 12, so he went there. So he got out, and when he was almost 30, right? Yeah, because look at it. Remember, he got to be king when he was 30. So man, he spent a good amount of time. Yep.
You think he was 18 years old when he went to prison? So
yeah, so he came out and did all that stuff when he was 30. Maybe even after he had interpreted the dream, and the king was super happy and pleased, she had still was harassing to get him locked back up. You know what I mean? That's insane, man.
Yeah, woman, you gotta shut your mouth now. He's governor now. You ain't a damn thing you can do.
I know Potiphar was sick of her behind too. Like, man, stop lusting over that dude. Imagine being married to that woman and she over there lusting for another man that's in prison, going visit him daily, trying to say all kind of wicked stuff, trying to get him. That stuff is wild to me.
Man, you knew Potiphar had to know that, man. Come on, man. You can't tell me that he didn't know what was going on. He didn't know the deal. He had eyes, because he was checking up on Joseph, so he had eyes everywhere. And all of a sudden, your wife is showing up at the prison? Really?
Nah, you getting put to death around here. That's stuff crazy.
What business do you got of showing up at a prison?
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's right. Well, you gotta realize now, it said how Potiphar put up with his wife. Remember now, she said that she's the baddest in the land. That's probably how he put up with her, man. You'd be surprised what brothers will put up with for a beautiful woman. That's why the scriptures tell you to don't be overcome by a woman's beauty, because it'll start have you doing crazy stuff. Facts, like Solomon.
Solomon's a prime example, man. He took up on all these wives, man, and next thing you know, man, he started dabbling with their gods and all kinds of stuff, man. And Most High had to take him off the throne.
God, even the scriptures say, says, "Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways which destroy kings." Right. So you're not supposed to be, and it talks about also about not falling for a woman's beauty. If you read Sirach, so forth and so on. You're supposed to look at the inner person. And I do understand that you do want a nice looking husband or wife or whatever, but that's got to be secondary to to what the spirit is showing you. That can't be primary. All right, man. You let that lead you, and I guarantee you're gonna lead yourself to sorrow. I promise you that. That goes for the brothers and the sisters. right? That sisters don't get involved with no pookies, and not, you know, that's how you get what you're doing. And brothers, don't be you know, involving yourself with no Shaniquas. And if your name's Shaniqua, I'm sorry, I'm just, you know, I just it's just one of them. You know what I'm talking about, right?
This brother said Shaniquas. Shaniquas, Patukas,
Hearing that crazy stuff going on.
Shanates,
You know good and well.
Leisha.
Oh, you starting to hear everybody now. Relax. Man. All right. Do we have any other questions or any concerns? Put them down in the comment section. We'll see if we can get to them before we end the lesson. That simp Potiphar knew. Yeah, man. Yeah, Potiphar was definitely a simp. Yeah. Then we'll read. We'll start to read next week and see what's going on in it.
Back in 50.
Client, that's right. There ain't no stepdads in the scriptures. Let me see. Jasher 43, 13, 45. What are you talking about? Let's see. What are you talking about? Let me see. $45, 13.
Put it on the screen.
I got it. Oh, Slucky. I thought it was on the screen. My bad. All right, 45, 13 through 18. Oh, Slucky, I'm 43. I'm gonna scroll down here. All right. It says, and Adon, the wife of Asher, died in those days, and she had no offspring. And it was after the death of Adon that Asher went to the other side of a river and took for a wife Hadarah, the daughter of Abimelech, the son of Eber, the son of Shem. And the young woman was of comely appearance and a woman of sense, and she had been the wife of Michael, the son of Elam, the son of Shem. And Hadurah bare a daughter unto Michael, and he called her name Sirach, and Michael died after this, and Hadurah went and remained in her father's house.
So what was the point? What was the question?
Yeah, there ain't no stepdad. You know what I'm saying? She going back to her father's house that she already had the child.
What was the question?
He was saying that you brother said before there are no stepdads in the scriptures. Jasher 45, 13 through 18 says something different.
So how does this prove this stepdad?
I don't know. And after the death of the wife of Asher, he went and took Hamor for a wife and brought her into the land of Canaan. And Sarah, the daughter, also brought them, and she was 3 years old. And the damsel was brought up in Jacob's house. And the damsel was of comely disappearance, and she sacrificed ways until she lacked nothing. Lord gave her wisdom, and the wife conceived and bare to him, and she had 4 sons. Yeah. All right, yeah, I've already read the verse 18, brother. Maybe you might be misreading it, man. Hey, hit us up on the you know what I'm saying, contact me on the email. I think you might be misreading it, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
All right, do we have any other questions, Israel? I like Dre P now. He always got them questions now. Dre P, inquisitive, con, all praises. All right, man. Let me see. By all means, change. I did read verse 18. Conceived and bear unto him Yemeth. It's right here, bro. You know what I'm saying? 4 sons. There's nothing out of the blue right here, brother. All right. Any more questions, Israel? All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Brother Daniel.
All right, Yasharel. Well, hey, glad you was able to tune in and everything. Until next time, keep hitting these laws, keep hitting these statutes and laws, these statutes, commandments, laws hard. Make haste to keep the laws, Yasharel. I'm telling you,
God.
we are coming into a time of, I mean, it's getting crazy out there. And, you know, we're going to have to really be strong mentally, spiritually, and as well as physically.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, because things are going to happen. It's getting bad for a lot of our people. So, the only thing you can do is just pray for our people, and the ones who will listen and hear the voice of the Most High, you know, will make that change. For the rest of them, they won't. You know, it's like the scripture says, a wave compared to a drop. We always know it's the remnant. We always know it's the very few, and we always know it's the majority who goes along with the crowd. So, with that being said, hey, gonna let you get back to your Shabbat, where you are scattered to the four corners of the earth. If you are in Europe, if you are anywhere in Europe, I think your Shabbat is already over. I'm assuming. If you're on the East Coast, the sun will be setting there in probably about a few more hours. So, all right, Yashara. Well, we're gonna bid you a hearty Shabbat Shalom.
Hey, stay strong, Israel. Stay strong.